I bought a lamp off Amazon a year ago. That's the lamp. When I open the app to control the lamp, it plays a video ad with sound that's not skippable for like 5 seconds.
Is it possible to do anything without seeing ads anymore? It honestly feels like there's almost nothing that you can do without ads.
Samsung just turned your luxury refrigerator into a billboard.
So many of these messages from all of my streaming services like, hey, we have ads now.
It should be a crime for YouTube to give me 3 back-to-back 15-second ads that are unskippable.
There was a shift that started about a year ago, and right now, we're seeing more ads than any human beings ever have in history, and it is about to get so much worse.
This company is changing advertising forever. Instead of interrupting movies with ads, they're embedding the ads inside of the movie using AI.
I don't know what the vibe was during previous revolutions, but I feel like I'm getting there. If anyone has a guillotine.
We are gathered here today to mourn a great loss. That loss being that everything wholesome and good in our lives inevitably gets ruined by ads. This year we've already had to lay to rest streaming services, rideshare apps, and even the few minutes of peace we get while pumping our gas as our last refuge of quiet in a world always pining for our attention. All gone too soon. If you're feeling like everything is an ad these days, that's because it is. Like, sure, advertising has always been around, but it's different now. Places we never thought we'd have to worry about being marketed to, like the dashboards in our cars, now have somehow found a way to tap into this revenue opportunity. But the worst betrayers of all are the once beloved companies that have broken our trust. Like Amazon, where you have to scroll as if you're spinning the Price is Right wheel just to get past all the sponsored products. Or on Google, you need to add Reddit to the end of your search to get answers that aren't financially motivated. And even our beloved YouTube, who I dare not speak of in vain, has made the user experience difficult, to say the least. So today we're going to dissect the ad takeover and how it's got to the point where we have to question all we see online and in real life because you never know what has ad dollars behind it. So to get into it, let's talk about how bad things have gotten. Because while advertisements migrating from physical media to digital has been happening for decades, lately they've been really pushing the limits of how many ads they can shove in our faces. To give a bit of context to this, in the 1970s, we were exposed to approximately 500 advertisements daily, but now the average American sees roughly 4,000 to 10,000 ads daily. Basically, from the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with ads all the way until you shut your eyes at night.
Is it possible to do anything without seeing ads anymore? Like, think about it. Almost every single thing that you do, especially things that you do for fun, you're going to see an ad in some way.
This advertising assault, one that's particularly acute when my cat attacks the remote at 4 a.m. and interrupts my sleep with a trailer for an explosive thriller, wasn't as invasive when I purchased the TV 3 years ago. Online advertising is similarly exhausting whether you're using a smart TV, phone, laptop, or really any kind of screen. My fitness and nutrition app advertises Eggo waffles as I input my smoothie. My friends are enduring ads in exchange for swipes on dating apps, and when I go to search for something to buy, it comes with a layer of distrust. Is this vacuum cleaner I'm looking at an organic result or another sneakily sponsored ad? But this avalanche of ads that we now face every day didn't just happen overnight. It crept up slowly over time, quietly filling more and more space in our digital and physical worlds. And it's the incremental pace that made it so normal to us. Like, can you imagine taking a person from like the 1930s and bringing them into 2025? They would most definitely be instantly overstimulated and overwhelmed by the amount of information that's shouted at us every day. This phenomenon of desensitization even has a name, ad creep, where marketing is taking over previously ad-free spaces. Basically, anywhere that companies can get away with putting ads, they will place ads. From doctor's offices to elementary schools, elevators, ATMs, and even garbage cans, wherever a gaze touches, there's a revenue opportunity.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
Just in the past few years, the creep has found corners that we didn't even know were possible to infiltrate. Samsung was recently under fire for this as they announced that their smart fridge now will be displaying advertisements on its information panel when the fridge is idle. So it's just on all the time in the middle of your house, ads for Burger King, Nike, or Apple just constantly displayed. Tesla has been taking similar steps as their in-car displays now are not off limits from advertisements either. Just in October, they partnered partnered with Disney to promote the latest Tron movie by replacing the car icon on your navigation screen with the iconic light cycle. They even include the red light trails to really feel like you're in the Tron universe. And as you can expect, people were not happy about this. Tesla's latest software update has landed with a thud among owners. It's essentially an advertisement for the upcoming film Tron. Welcome to 2025, where your car can now double as a mobile billboard. But one of the worst offenders of all, which I think pushed us all over the edge, was the introduction of ads in our streaming services. Companies that once sold us on the promise of commercials being a thing of the past have at last succumbed to the relentless appetite of capitalism. Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount+, all have embraced the return of commercials while maintaining their standard subscription fees, of course. Only a few services are left standing, like Apple TV, who for now still holds on to their ad-free promise, but even the places where we're used to getting ads have become unbearable. Like the internet, where now every page we click on is an ad assault on our eyes. To be online is to dodge pop-ups and pre-rolls while getting swindled into purchasing falsely recommended products, even as users hand over additional personal information that allows advertisers to find them faster, better, and all the more invasively next time. As with most things in modern life, this is big tech's world, and we're just living in it.
The New York Times had a hilarious headline. Nobody wants this product placement. The scene where she conspicuously applies Estee Lauder's advanced night repair, even though she's already wearing makeup and it's the middle of the day in the episode. America's corporate top brands are basically in the show's cast.
Now, as we know, the internet has always been rife with ads, but for so long it wasn't a big deal, and it was even helpful in some cases, because they often let you know of stuff that you didn't know existed, or they made it easier to find things without spending hours digging online. Like just the other day, I got an ad for a new coffee shop in my area, and now that's my new favorite spot to work at. As well, even when we were kids, we all grew up with commercials in our TV shows, and it wasn't a big deal. In fact, it was my best resource to finding the toys to add to my Christmas list that I would never get. Like moon boots, they would have been so cool. At the end of the day, it's not the advertising itself that is the problem, it's the overload, the shadiness, and the manipulation that ruins it all. Like if you remember when brands started tweeting funny, sarcastic quips, when was that, like a decade ago? It was so refreshing compared to the traditional advertising we were used to. But everything that was once good is just an opportunity to be exploited, as now this tactic has been co-opted by every brand, showing up uninvited wherever the view count is hot. If you haven't noticed, nearly every viral video now has a major brand's Gen Z intern commenting anything to join in on the conversation and grab a slice of that attention pie. But it's not cute anymore. It's exploiting someone else's content for profit.
You guys ever? Yes! Yeah! I very much relate to this video.
What are you doing here?
Well, I was just scrolling my For You page and I happened to stumble across your very relatable video.
Stumble across it? You sure it has nothing to do with the millions of views that it has?
As said here, more. Not so quietly, we found ourselves in a rapidly escalating battle with ads. Like sand after coming home from the beach, ads have found their way into everything, including some spaces that we'd rather not have them.
It just feels like around every corner now there is an ad lurking, waiting to capitalize off our attention, waiting to capitalize off of any real or genuine moment. The boundaries between human being and brand have become so blurred that it's difficult to distinguish between the two. Brands act like people online, people act like brands online. The internet is really the wild west of marketing. There is really infinite space to squeeze ads into. Sometimes it feels as though we've signed a deal with the devil in order to use these things for free, and now we will just have to spend the rest of our lives being marketed to.
YouTube has also been under fire for their contribution to the ad overload epidemic, as their ad rolls have continued to become ever more invasive. Their latest update in September 2024 included offering marketers both 30-second and 60-second unskippable ads, with minute-long ads specifically targeted for TVs. Huge yikes.
YouTube has become completely unwatchable. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to watch a 17-second long video on YouTube, A 20-second ad!
But I must say that YouTube ads aren't something that I have experience with, at least for the past 2 years, because that's when I started paying for YouTube Premium. And honestly, I will never go back. It's just so refreshing not having ads all over my videos, especially with how many YouTube videos I watch. And it's also such a shock if I'm ever not logged in and I get bombarded with the pre-roll ad. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? How do people live like this? But YouTube introducing these 60-second unskippable ads is especially uncool when their automatic ad placement already always puts them like every 3 minutes. I swear to God, ask any YouTuber and most of them will say that they can't use the auto ad placement feature because it just goes crazy putting them everywhere.
That's what YouTube wanted me to do. That's what I did. That's what YouTube wanted me to do. That's what I did.
We sort of passed this turning point where the internet just became marketing with more advertisements than actual content. Everywhere you turn, you have to decipher if you're getting a real recommendation or just a sponsorship in disguise. Speaking of which, yes, I do have a sponsor for this video because unfortunately, that is how I get paid for my work. But the nice thing about my ads is that they are skippable if it's not something that's interesting to you. So here's the thing, if you're watching this right when it comes out, then the new year is just around the corner. And with that comes a lot of pressure to reset your life, reinvent yourself, and basically become a new you. And so around this time of year, we are bombarded with ads promising us the one product that will solve all of our problems and completely transform our lives. But the reality is that all this pressure usually just leaves us disappointed when we don't live up to it. And by the end of January, most people just feel burnt out. That's why this year I'm encouraging you to focus on improving your mental health and with that, your life one small step at a time. I know from personal experience that when I'm not in a good mindset, there's not even a chance of me hitting my goals or even doing the things that truly make me happy in the long term. That's why I believe in setting our mental health as the top goal of the year because everything else is built on it. For me, that means checking in regularly with my therapist who helps me navigate difficult seasons of life so I can be fully present and enjoy them. That's why I'm excited to share with you today's partner, Growth Therapy. Growth Therapy believes that real growth doesn't require a complete reinvention. It starts small, one honest conversation, one shift in perspective, one step towards feeling better for real. Growth Therapy is building a better kind of therapy, one that's easier to access, more affordable, and made to fit real life. One of the ways they do this is by letting you book appointments in as little as 2 days with availability on nights and weekends as well. I know for myself, one of the biggest hurdles to actually going to therapy wasn't deciding that I wanted to, but making the appointment. As well, they offer both virtual and in-person sessions. I know some people prefer virtual because it's more convenient. I personally like seeing a therapist face-to-face in their office. You also have the freedom to choose a therapist that best fits your needs. And with that, they have over 19,000 licensed and vetted providers to choose from. Plus, Growth Therapy works with over 100 insurance plans, most sessions costing around $21 with insurance, and some paying as little as $0 depending on their plan. And one of the best parts is that they are pay per session, not a subscription plan. You know how we feel about subscriptions over here. So if you want to get started with Growth Therapy today, you can go to growtherapy.com/AshleyEmbers or scan the QR code on the screen and get started with therapy that fits you. Thanks to Growth Therapy for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so now I want to talk about how we got here because it's more than just companies want more money so they put more ads in. There's actually a delicate formula that makes ad creep successful, but the strategy itself is simple. Hook people on a product and then once they're committed, exploit the crap out of them. This tried and true process is used in pretty much every large company and has recently been given a name by the author Cory Doctorow, enshittification. Whether you're looking at Facebook, Amazon, Uber, or even Google, they all have played us the same way. They offer you a product and service that is novice and solves a problem in our lives. The product is so good that sometimes it's even too good to be true that it quickly grows in popularity, like Google offering us the world's information with just one search, and Uber offering rides for cheaper than taxis. These companies revolutionize the space they're in. But once they've done their noble job and created a committed customer base, that's when the exploitation begins. They start by pulling strings and been tweaking systems ever so slightly, shifting the focus away from user satisfaction and towards profit margins. To use Facebook as an example in the book Enshittification, Facebook has now withdrawn all available surplus, leaving behind the bare minimum it calculates to be sufficient to keep users glued to one another and publishers and advertisers glued to the users. Every available penny of surplus has been clawed back and given to Facebook's shareholders and executives. Another example is Amazon. They have revolutionized the industry with 2-day shipping, and also if you've forgotten like I had, they used to have really good products at great prices. But that is a long lost experience because now when you look up a product on Amazon, you don't get the best result at the lowest price, but a page full of sponsored products. They are a prime example, pun intended, of deceptive advertising because we all know the products that say sponsored post underneath them, but it goes beyond that. See, it's not just that sellers pay to have their products appear first in searches. Amazon organizes results not based on what's best for you, but what brings in the highest profit margins for them. Amazon gets to insist that it has the lowest prices in the business, but no one can find those prices. Instead, we all pay a massive Amazon tax every time we shop there, and the merchants we buy from are paying an Amazon tax too. The stuff at the top of an Amazon search results page is bad. It's low quality, high priced junk. Basically, once a company has the option to enshittify, it will. And this brings us to the advertising first takeover, where pretty much every company that sells you products or services is, at the end of the day, either primarily or at least secondarily in the business of advertising. Going back to Amazon as an example, they made $37 billion from ads on their own platform last year, and analysts predict that the total will nearly double by 2027. Just 5 years ago, the company only pulled in $4.7 billion in ads. Despite the fact that Bezos himself once said that advertising is the price you pay for having an unremarkable product or service. I couldn't agree more, Jeff.
Hell yes.
But Amazon is now an ad selling machine where they are currently the third largest online ad seller in the US, just behind Google and Facebook. It's gotten so profitable that Amazon's ad revenue makes them more money than they make from Prime Video, and Audible combined. Moving on to Uber, which definitely isn't an advertising company, yet made $1.5 billion from ads in 2024.
Uber has started showing ads in pop-up notifications, which used to not even be allowed. Now Lyft is doing the same thing. They're going to show you ads when you ask for the driver, when the driver is matched with you, and then you're going to see a whole bunch of other ads throughout the ride if you have the app open.
Instacart is the same story, where almost 30% of their revenue in 2023 came from ads. So they all really don't care about how good their services are when they can rake in this much money from ads.
I get it. I work in advertising. I work with a lot of these brands that are making content that just feels like they're trying to sell you something because they are. So the bigger a brand gets, the bigger the bureaucracy or like siloing every sales channel. So then there becomes a director of e-commerce, a director of Amazon sales, a director of retail. And every single one of them are fighting for quick wins and trackable growth to show their bosses, or else they'll get replaced. It makes everything short-term, transactional, short-lived. Everything is optimized for click-based conversions rather than authenticity or educating or providing value. And one thing I've never understand is this like obsession with growth. I remember being in a few QBRs presenting record-breaking profits for a company, like net profit. And the executive team doesn't really even seem pleased. They just immediately push next year's goal higher.
Going further, pretty much every website you visit is in the business of advertising. To share a fun fact that I had the horrifying time learning was that the delay you get when a web page is loading in your browser isn't necessarily the website loading, but the ads being placed. Because the website's content is mostly static, it's the ads that are dynamic and customized to each viewer. So the system needs a few extra seconds to put the right ads in the right place based on your data before they show you the page. Otherwise, you might get your information and leave before you see an ad. But we do have a weapon against this, right? Ad blockers. Except there is a solution to that as well. Have you noticed that so many companies are begging us to download their apps these days? Well, that is partially because you can't use ad blockers on apps, so you're forced to see them. This is why every company is so sweatily insistent that you use its app rather than its website. And An app is a website wrapped in enough IP to make it a felony to install an ad blocker or any other modification that makes the product work better for you at the expense of the company's shareholders. So whether it's a thermostat, a dishwasher, or even one of those smart light bulbs, these companies don't really care about the initial purchase anymore. What they're really excited about is the app you need to operate the device, because that's where they make most of their money now. It's a beautiful world we're living in, isn't it? Okay, so the other thing I've been thinking about is the problem of sales being down over the past few years, which doesn't sit well with the constant growth model that the economy is built on. Because if you didn't know, the only reason the economy is doing well is because a handful of AI-driven tech giants are propping it up for us. I think it's something like 40% of the stock market's growth over the past year came from these companies. And so outside of these few businesses, when profits are down, what do you do except find other avenues to make money? That's why I personally think there has been such a push in advertising since the Vibe session started, because as the cost of living has hit customers, they stopped spending money on things, making businesses scramble to pivot. Enter every company monetizing our attention one way or another. And so even though people are struggling to pay for groceries, the online industry is thriving. Internet advertising revenues reached a record high of $225 billion between 2022 and 2023. And that's one of the reasons why we're stuck with these streaming services selling their sob stories to us of not making enough money and claiming that they have no other choice than to put ads in, because people are broke, so they aren't signing up anymore. The funny part though is that even these companies that offer ad-free plans are only doing it to soften the blow, but they don't really want you to opt for them because they make far more money from advertising than they do from their top tier subscriptions. In fact, they do everything in their power to keep you on those lower tiers. Back in August, Disney CEO Bob Iger said his company was deliberately pushing Disney Plus clients toward the plans that include advertisements by making ad-free plans more expensive. Basically, the way every major company has shifted now is that we've grown beyond if you're not paying, then you're the product, but even if you are paying, you're still the product. So that's where we're at now, but what does our future look like moving forward? I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that it is not looking good, because what we're spiraling towards is a world where anything that has a screen and a connection to the internet is subject to adopting advertising, which might sound a bit extreme, but the thing is, we've already been seeing this happen, so who's to say that they don't keep pushing it further? When Elon first made the Tesla, there was no talk about putting ads in the cars, yet here we are. When Samsung announced the Family Hub fridge, they showed no intent to put ads in that either. Even back in April, the executive vice president said Samsung does not feature promotions on its displays and had no plans regarding the inclusion of advertisements on AI home screens. And yet the plans did come to fruition, didn't they? And it's not just one product either. Over the past year, Samsung has doubled down on an initiative to put screens everywhere on its products, expanding its AI features to digital displays on its washers and dryers. The enshittification is just too enticing to brands who can keep pumping those profits.
TikTok is testing whether users will put up with every video being an ad. Over the last several months, we've all had to suffer through all of the endless TikTok shop videos that the platform is determined to push out to us, but now TikTok is working on a new thing in which basically every single video will subtly be part of the TikTok shop. Like, no matter if you have signed up for it, but if you mention a product or if you hold up a product in your videos, like we do on Book Talk, you just hold up a video, suddenly it's now part of the TikTok shop and TikTok can make money off of it.
What this means for us is that it's in our best interest to be wary of any company that's selling us something that sounds too good to be true, like OpenAI, which I don't think anyone trusts them, but still, I'm just waiting for the day when they put ads on their site, because why wouldn't they? They aren't turning a profit. In fact, they're losing money. And if we've learned anything from tech companies of the past, it's that they almost always end up caving to advertising because it's the quickest fix to their profit problems. Altman even said himself in a recent interview that he's not against ads, so enjoy the ad-free version while we have it, I guess.
I like ads. I think ads on Instagram kind of cool. I bought a bunch of stuff from them.
Beyond that, even the ads that we're already seeing on screens are evolving with the introduction of AI, primarily in the development of dynamic advertising, which is gradually replacing traditional ads. Now, with AI-driven post-production ad insertion, brands can place a product even after the content has been created.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new Mococo drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
This technique allows ads to blend seamlessly into the content, making them feel less intrusive. But it also means that they are endlessly customizable. With the power of AI, brands can retroactively add their products into movies or TV shows that have already been released. This allows for content to be updated in real time without having to reshoot scenes, and brands can replace the product in the video stream for the viewer, creating a dynamic and relevant experience. So soon enough, while you're streaming that rerun of Friends, the brands on the table in front of the characters will be changed depending on who's watching. The same process of digital surveillance that tracks your online activity and serves you the perfect banner ads on Facebook will put those products in your shows. Next thing you know, Rachel will be showing off the latest iPhone right when your phone starts acting like it's on its last legs. What this all points to is a world where we don't know what an ad is anymore, because it may as well all be ads when the line between content and advertisement disappears. Okay, final thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna end off with some solutions because what else is there to say? Couple actions you can take. Of course, download ad blockers if you can, and avoid apps when you don't need them. I even bought a light bar for my desk and it came with an app, of course, but I'd rather just use the little remote and not have as many customizations because I don't want the app. Also, if it's something that you're into, you can get some physical media, because even besides the ad issues, it's nice to not have to hunt down your favorite movies as they get swapped between every streaming service. But that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Let me know if you have other solutions for the ad takeover. Also, check out my video on surveillance capitalism if you want more on this, because it does of course go deeper. Make sure you check out my merch. All the proceeds go to the SA Foundation, and also subscribe if you haven't. But that is all I have for you today. Bye.
Unlock Life Premium so you can see the sunset the whole way through. And if you upgrade to Life Enhanced, we'll show you what the sunset actually looks like. And if you upgrade to Life VIP, we'll show you what the sunset looks like, but this time for real.